Hi everyone, my name is Kate Emerald. I am the founder of Life of Emerald. Life of Emerald is for your mind, body, and soul. It's an online studio scaling global impact via spreading world knowledge, spirituality, and cultures. Global Healing Movement 2020 is dedicating to mental health advocacy. Today we have our guest named Andreas Villa. He's calling from California. Hi.
Hi, Kate. Hi, everyone.
Welcome to our studio. Let's get straight into our first question for our audience watching. So, Andres, could you please share with our audience how you contribute your talent and time to the world?
Sure. Thank you. My talent and my time is devoted to the awakening of consciousness through humanity via the traditions of the Quero lineages and the traditions, and also through the use of sacred medicines. Also, we have also been initiated and we share some of the wisdoms of the Hindu tradition, the Advaita Vedanta. And for us, this is a time of merging the traditions, of really finding the oneness in between all of the vocabularies that we have available to us.
Yeah, Andres, so for those of us who are not very familiar with sacred medicine, we know what medical medicine is, the Western pharmaceutical medicine, and the connotation of medicine is to heal people. What is sacred medicine that you're working?
Right, thank you. Sacred medicines are substances from Mother Earth, from Pachamama. They're natural plants that help with the healing of different physical ailments, but more specifically with the healing of consciousness, which is the root of any imbalance in the body. And so it helps heal different ailments that actually can go back, genetic aspects that we carry from our ancestry, right? And so we have different sacred medicines like ayahuasca, San Pedro, that there, for example, ayahuasca, they call her abuelita or mother ayahuasca, and it's of essence feminine essence. And San Pedro is of masculine essence. We have other medicines that are not necessarily plants, but they're also very much in line with the awakening of consciousness, like Padre Sapito. And so all of this have the qualities of really getting us to know each other, to know ourselves really deeply, awakening the things that are in our subconscious that may be triggering and manifesting things outside in our reality that might not be in line with harmony, that might not be in line with love and joy, and the things that we really need to prosper and be abundant and be in line with consciousness itself. They do heal because they're so powerful as medicines themselves. They do have the potential to heal. There are many documented cases where you can find that people go into remission of things like cancer, they balance diabetes, lupus. We've seen countless cases of different ailments being healed. Not so much cured, but healed.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I know within my healing community circle, I hear often people talk about the plants being able to heal addictions such as drug addictions and alcohol. And I wonder if this is hype or this is realistic.
It is very real. We've had quite a few participants that are now part of the community that we're dealing with addictions of heroin for 20, some of them actually 30 years. And but they had to find a way to keep on functioning. So these would be addictions that they were quote unquote controlled by other substances, like methadone. And so people with heroin addiction, people with crack addiction, and of course alcoholism, they come and they spend a weekend at the retreats. And of course it has to do a lot with how ready the person is. If the person is really at that point that it's like, I'm done, I've tried it all. I tried to control it. I tried psychology. I tried hypnotherapy. I've tried everything. and but there's still something, some energy that it's that addiction energy, right? That is the lack of diction, and it has to do a lot with speech. And so bottom line, what happens is they come and they get into that part of the subconscious, that where that dormant energy is, that it's triggered, that it's actually making them go outside of themselves to find the comfort in drugs, in alcohol, and sometimes it has to be with food or sex, and any kind of addiction, really. And so people find themselves truly at the core, to be able to find that peace again, that it's unshakable, and that part of themselves that really says, I don't need anything. I don't need anything outside of myself to feel good, because they find themselves. So obviously, there's a, depending on the person, could be some processes of purging these energies, and coming to terms with all of that, taking responsibility fully. And this has been, a really beautiful thing to see, during the past years that we've been working closely with the medicines. So yeah, it's very much real. What you see and what you hear. There's countless cases of people that are at that point that they're ready, and when they're ready, it's an easy transition.
Mm. Yeah, that message breeds a lot of hope for people who are going through terrific condition, such as addiction. Addiction is something that it feels like you're sinking in the sand dune, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Right.
as you mentioned, if a person is ready to go into the next healing modality step because they've tried everything else,
Yeah.
this sacred medicine has a powerful healing functioning for them to flip the switch 180 degrees. So where there are less of a relapse, no relapse maybe, and no relapse, and they're like a completely brand new person. And I have to wonder and ask you,
Mm-hmm.
what about the nature on
Mm-hmm.
Earth
Mm-hmm.
has the capacity to do that to a human being?
Can you explain a little bit more? I don't think I follow.
So traditionally we have medicine, and in pharmaceutical medicine, in my understanding, there is genetic modification and there's chemical processing, things like that. But in sacred medicine, if
Mm-hmm.
you're working with the natural substances of the earth,
Mm-hmm.
why is that more potent than pharmaceutical medicine?
Right. So pharmaceutical Western medicine is really used, the traditional sense of healing or curing or helping a patient. It's basically focused on treating the condition, and but they treat the consequences, they treat the symptoms. So when you go to a doctor, you get an assessment, and they say, okay, you have a headache, you have dehydration, you have this, you have that, and then they give you a medicine to help you with that, so to help with the symptoms. But it doesn't really address, they don't really get into they don't cross the line where the patient is able to understand how was that the patient originally developed these spaces of unbalance in the first place. And so that's the difference. The Western medicine on one hand is very helpful, especially for someone that has no context of awareness or consciousness. So it does serve a purpose, for increasing the quality of life. But on the other hand, if we are to understand, if we are to take responsibility, if we are to really heal, then we have to see how that we in the first place created some of the circumstances. And sometimes it's not very clear. It's not an easy thing to understand, because they might say, like, well, how about the kids, that are born with cancer and things like this. And it's a much deeper conversation about the infinity and the way that energy works, and consciousness and karma and all of these things. So nonetheless, what happens with sacred medicines is that the person has an opportunity and has a glimpse to really see how is it that we are at the core the ones experiencing this in the first place, and therefore we are the ones responsible. And so whether it's responsibility in changing it or accepting it, that's the first step, and then the work that happens afterwards It's the important aspect. So, in sacred medicines, we tell everyone, this is not a fixed ticket. The cases that do offer remission, and the ceremonies that do offer healing for someone, I cannot say that it's every single one, although every single person receives some guidance, receives some assistance, and some clear direction as to what's the next step in their conscious evolution. But the people that actually go into the ceremony and have some healing is because they reach the core, they reach the rock bottom of all of their circumstances, and they're able to understand everything at a level that they say, thank you, no more. I understand now my choices, my decisions. I understand who I am, and for that, it's a new day for them. It's a new chapter that they can take. All of this and push it forward in clear ways. Now it is a challenge that takes commitment, like everything else. And this is the important thing of understanding sacred medicines is, again, they're not a fixed ticket. If there's someone that does not have an issue so much with like a drug addiction or a physical ailment, then usually people come to sacred medicines to find a little bit more depth in consciousness. They have been meditating for 10 years. They have been, sometimes a psychotherapist, whatever it is, and they go into a ceremony, and then they understand the difference of the space in between how they feel and what they think. And so this is the gift of the sacred medicines. Really be experiential, have an experience, have really an experience of what it means to be, what it means to really make sense of the two aspects of ourselves, the thinking and the feeling, and the emotions and the ego and the mind and everything else. Is quite a journey of awakening, quite a journey into those levels of enlightenment, those levels of pure consciousness, pure being.
Yeah, sounds like it's beyond the surface level where the current medicine is treating. Beyond that, there is more, such as our ancestry karma, our ancestry DNA, our karma, and the trauma that like accumulates over time. And there's things that we cannot understand by seeing eyes, and the sacred medicine sounds like it penetrates through all the layers, even including the unconscious level. Thanks for sharing that. Let's jump into the second question. Andres, could you please tell us one or two personal story which has shaped your worldview today, working with the medicine and being an integrated whole person? Yeah.
Thank you. Sure. I guess the very first experience that I had, we really can't discount our life before awakening. And so, as we start to work more and more with introspection, with that path of consistent awareness of ourselves, we realize how much value all of our life before an awakening experience, how much value that has. And so all of our lives, brings a lot of contrast. And now reflecting back, the being timid as a child, some physical abuse, all of the things that seem like really rough for the upbringing, those have been the points that have little by little gotten the psyche to say, like, what else, what more can be. This cannot be real. This cannot be all there is. And so, I'm very grateful for all of the experiences that I've had. There's really countless. There's 30 years of all of this, right? But I guess the one that really marked a point in my life was when my son was born, and I was a used car general manager. I had a small car dealership. And I don't know if you're aware of the type of business that occurs, that can occur in the car business. So it's rough. It's very much of the world, just caring about the bottom line dollar sign. And so I wasn't really ready. I had a lot of anger. I had a lot of insecurities, and I wanted to control everything in life. And so when he was born, I recognized when he came out of my wife's womb, I recognized for the first time in my whole life, I've never really felt like that before. I felt such purity and such innocence and such life that I was very scared. I was very, like, genuinely, I don't think I've ever been as scared in my life, because I understood that he was a part of me. He was, something that I intended for. And when I saw that purity, I got very, very, very scared. And I remember talking to my mom and to my dad and say, I'm really gonna mess this up. I don't have the means to serve this being, this being of purity, of consciousness. And so, they cried with me. They understood completely how I felt. And so I remember praying at that point for the first time in, I think, maybe 20 years. I hadn't prayed since my dad and my mom separated. I hadn't really connected to God at that level. And I made a prayer, I said, I need some help. I need some assistance. Please, if you're there, I need some assistance, some help. And shortly after, I had an awakening experience that lasted for about 30 days in a state of ecstasy. And then this, of course, is sober. I wasn't taking any drugs or anything, but I had something that happened to me, and that experience itself really changed everything. I was having visions and, talking to beings. And so gradually, after understanding so much about existence, and it was a period where I really re-understood and relearned, 30 days of relearning. I wasn't working, thank God, so I had this it was everything lined up for me to experience this moment. And so it was 30 days that I had for re-understanding life and beliefs, and what is consciousness, what is God, what is human mind, what's resonance. And so I had this amazing experience of, elation and complete connection. And so after that, I started again descending into my normal day-to-day, normal duties and occupations, and dealing with clients, dealing with my own emotions again. It wasn't really, again, it was not a fixed ticket. It was just a glimpse, but a glimpse that really realigned my understanding of life. And then from there, it has been 7 years since that happened, that I've been consistently working and learning about the different traditions, learning about Advaita Vedanta, learning about sacred medicines, about Buddhism. I became a devotee of a couple different gurus, and learning practices of breathing and Kriya, Kundalini, and becoming a master of Kriya Yoga, a teacher of Kriya Yoga, I should say better. And then consciousness put in front of me, when I reached that point that it's like, okay, I understand all of this wisdom, I understand all of this consciousness, but I'm still feeling very rough inside. I'm still feeling there's something that it's not making sense about why life is the way it is and how I feel about a couple different things. And that's when sacred medicine came into my life. So I would say that my son being born would be the turning point in my life, where everything changed. It was like one day, and then there was another day. That would be one. That would be the main one. And then after that, I guess the second one you could call deep experiences with Padre Sapito, where I have working with medicines as a first person, being fully anchored on the force that keeps you alive at all points, which is the energy of ego. And the ego, the way that I have come to understand it, is the guardian of individuality. It's not that it's something bad or something good. And so in these experiences of Padre Sapo, of sacred medicine Sapito, then the experience has been a consistent going into that space so consciously, and into that space of the next dimensions, in the space of totality and consciousness. And but to be really able to experience that consciously, part of our consciousness is enmeshed so much with these energies of ego, of likes and dislikes, rejections, identity. And so it has been a really truly wonderful experience to merge in that space and experience in a first person what it means to let the ego die. Now, it doesn't really die, but you feel like it's an ego death. So it's, you could say, like the dark night of the soul. And the beauty of it is that you think that you come back from these experiences and you think that you understand, but because the ego is never gone, it's just more awareness of how that is, how that flows, how the ego operates and how the mind operates, and when the thought magnetizes and when the ego is trying to tell you something. And so, it's a beautiful thing to really get to know, to get to know ourselves, but not only the spiritual parts, which is always unconditional, loving, and always supporting us at all times, every single person, but also from a self perspective, like Melchizedek and what most of the traditions say is, by means of claiming this birthright of consciousness for ourselves, then we get to know every single aspect of ourselves, not only the divine parts, but also all of the other parts that we are part of ourselves. And we begin to make sense, and we begin to know ourselves in a way that we can harmonize everything that we are. We feel the harmony, and we feel the purpose, and we feel the meaning of why things are the way they are, and the way we feel, and all of the same. So it has been a beautiful journey, really. And so, the best thing of everything is that, out of these two main experiences, which I have to say that second experience has been multiple times. It's not just one time. It's been a multiple experience, but it's very much the same process. That has been, the means of why I do what I do, and why, the organization and the foundation is taking the steps that it's taking right now.
Wow, what a rich life story you've shared so vividly and so gracefully. Thanks for that. What I hear from you is everybody has our first years of conditioning, and you're embracing that conditioning as if accumulating sort of like a dirty skin in our humanness, and you're embracing that as a part of the important awakening point when your son was born, as if everything mattered. And that's very healing for all of us watching, and that it's helping me for sure to not negate whatever happened in life, because it's part of everything, all spectrum. And I hear you when your son was born out of your wife's womb, and it's part of you, and you were fearful because perhaps your ego was saying, how can this be a pure being out of my body, out of my wife's body, come out? And there's a contrast, but it feels, as a listener, feels like the universe is really presenting you. This pure consciousness is really, really in you.
Always.
So let's work a day at a time to get back to the pure consciousness as a devotee, and everyday intention we put in every day, because every day is a precious time, right?
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing that also has come through the understanding that has come is that we have chosen everything. In pure clarity before incarnation, we have chosen these formative years that has given us the means to experience life now. And, it's getting to understand that and make peace with all of this, that it's enough, it's more than enough for every single person, whether it's been a blissful formative years from 0 to 9, 0 to 11 years, or it's been a very rough, it all serves the same purpose of getting us to right here and now. Right here.
Right. And now the right here and now is more enriched by the contrast that we experience throughout life. Yeah, thank you. So our third question for our viewer is, what is your understanding of the current state of planet Earth or the collective consciousness? Can you share this?
Yeah. Thank you. Right. So I see humanity as a whole going through a transition state. We're all going through this period of, what you would call awakening, and even Mother Earth, Mama Inca, Mama Pachamama, it's going through this process, of transitioning. A lot of people, it has to do with where you are, particularly in any given time. And so if you are still not awakened, and your awakening process still come, it might feel, you might not be aware of anything, nonetheless, the energies are intensifying so much, as every day passes. And so people are having more and more contrast. Things in the world are starting to feel more intense. Even full moons are very overwhelming sometimes for some people. And so it's a process. It's a process right now of awakening and really releasing. And the awakening, it's in a way, it's growth. It's growing out of the shadows, growing out of unconsciousness. Is the awakening of this number, right? For sometimes millennials, we have been sleeping, and so now this is the time. This is the time where we get to open up our eyes and see. And so where humanity is going, I believe that it doesn't really matter whether someone makes it or not in this life. Bottom line, consciousness never dies. And whether it's going to be this lifetime or the next, everybody's going back home. And back home is, again, presence, the presence of being here and now. I think that for those who are in this path of awakening, like yourself, like myself, like everybody listening, I do believe that there's amazing times coming. And there's a lot of really beautiful things to be happy for, which is just as a glimpse, immediate manifestation of thought and feeling. And this is something to be happy for, even if we feel that we might not be fully there yet to manifest harmoniously. We just have to remember that we're always being supported, and that whatever we manifest maybe out of balance, it's a lesson. It's a lesson for us to realize, whatever manifests out of this unbalance creating, that we could do. It's a lesson. It's a lesson for us to reflect and say thank you, because now we can see, where is where was the mistake, and how to correct it. How to be more conscious with the different energies within ourselves. And so yeah, I'm more than hopeful for humanity as a whole. Whether the propaganda and everything that's going on, it's I have like a knowing that where this is going. And actually the vision of that has come through sacred medicines is for humanity to have an embodied state of consciousness, where the mind takes the passenger seat, and what is operating through all of our chakras, through all of our being, and in grounded here and now, is consciousness, is the divine. So you can just imagine what that looks like as far as creation and relationships and everything.
Yeah, certainly I see that happening, and I also have an intuitive knowing through my prayers and meditation that world is coming to approaching. We're approaching that era.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at this era we're approaching like how the internet started in 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
Started like I had to plug in my computer to the wall, something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but now we don't even have to have a cable. We have wireless, and in some cities they just plug into Wi-Fi without anything.
Yeah.
And so looking at that transitional evolutionary phase and how fast it evolved the internet, I am very hopeful for the next phase of our humanity. Even though things look sticky right now, what I hear from you is don't worry about it. At the same time, take care of your internal world.
100%. 100%. That's really all. That's all we can really do. The outside is, a manifestation, and it's a reflection of the collective. And the collective is going through this transition. And there are brothers and sisters, and we love them, and some of them might be really close relatives and close friends, and nonetheless we love everyone the same. What we're going through, what this experience of consciousness that we are personally experiencing, that's our job. That's our work. That's what it means to really be a light worker, working our own, not working outside and doing all of this. Yes, of course, if you have a calling of being a healer, and like, for example, yourself, you're spreading consciousness. This is amazing. This is beautiful. But nonetheless, we have to really, stay within, and have an awareness of, everything that we are.
Yeah, definitely. When we stay within, the world falls apart, and it's no longer our responsibility, but our own is to take care of our light inside. Now, Andres, thanks for such a rich explanation, integrating what you know. And so let's go to the number 4 and 5. Let me combine this. Could you share with us how to live a quality life, what to do to help Mother Earth? You've sort of touched that. So the 5th question is, could you share one simple practical thing that our audience can implement in their lives right now to cultivate the light within?
Sure. To really just touch on number 4, the very much the only thing that we can do to assist Mother Earth is have a commitment. Have a commitment to ourselves, and this is the most important thing that we can do at this time. And it is very important. It is very important for our conscious evolution and for our environment. And it is a commitment to consciousness, a commitment to the self. It could be through different lineages. It could be through sacred medicines. It could be, whatever is in your established path of knowledge. It's important to commit. Not have it as like a book in the shelf that we can attend whenever we need it. No, it's like we really need to commit. This is the message right now: is commitment to ourselves and to the path. And because this is the way that we help Pachamama. This is the way that we help Mother Earth in the transition, becoming more and more and more. And one thing that we can I'd like to share, it's a practical exercise, which it's something that might be shared by different traditions. In the Ghetto tradition, we call it Samin Chakwi. And Samin Chakwi is when you're in that space of meditation, when you're aware of your breath, and you have a sense of inner stillness and inner calmness of the mind and of the heart, and you're present. Then you sense your aura. You sense it's called pokpo, your energy bubble around yourself. And so you see your pokpo, this beautiful energy that is you, that is always feeding you, your emotions, your thoughts. And then you visualize from the top of the pokpo an opening. The bubble itself opens up. And the moment that it opens up, you can receive Sami. And Sami is divine, fine, very refined energy, refined Kausai, living energy, which is this divinity that we've been speaking about. And you feel it flowing down from your crown chakra, and you feel it coming down through your third eye, and flowing all the way down to your heart chakra, to your solar plexus, sacral chakra, root chakra, and you could give it now to Mother Earth. And so you can take a few minutes of connecting with this energy and letting it wash down any hucha, any dense energy that might be within ourselves, within our energy body. And we flow it down to Mother Earth, who receives it so gladly. This is candy, this is flowers for her, this is a gift that we give her. This is how she actually balances herself. And you can just feel it. You can actually help yourself direct the energy. And the beautiful thing, and when you're done about this, when you're done with 10 to 20 minutes of doing this, it's important to close it back. And you close back your pokpo. You can say a prayer of gratefulness. Thank you. And this is a beautiful practice that it's brought by the high priestess of the Andes, and many of them have affirmed that by doing this 2 times a day, 15 to 20 minutes per day, this is enough to reach the 6th and possibly the 7th level of consciousness, which is, so you can get an awareness of what the 6th level of consciousness is the state of the Christ, the Christ consciousness. Because, you're being disciplined, you're being consistent with flowing down any hucha, any dense energy. And so what operates and what fills you up your mind, your consciousness, your energy, your resonance, your aura is divine. And so by cultivating this practice, this is very much enough to start gradually, of course, gradually ascending in consciousness.
Wow, what a what a wealthy information for our well-being and for Mother Earth. I thank you, and thank you for the wisdom and knowledge that is coming through from the universe. And what's striking me when I hear you say is that let the dense energy in our body flow to Mother Earth, because Mother Earth thrives in this energy. And so in a way, nothing is wasted, and everything is
Beautiful.
benefit of everything.
It's beautiful.
So there is no good or bad. There's no good emotion, bad emotion, nothing. Everything is recyclable. Everything has a function. And this is amazing. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kate. Thank you.
Yeah. Andres, could you share with our audience the best way we can contact you or follow you?
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you so much.
With you. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys can reach me, you and anyone can reach me at www.adacemo.org, and that's going to be ADACEMO.org. And or you can find us on Facebook at Pachamama Sacred Medicines. And that's probably the best. My email is andres@adacemo.org. And I'm always available. We have workshops, initiations, retreats, private sessions, Kriya initiations. We have quite wide array of services that we provide for anybody that resonates with these understandings, with this knowledge, and yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I am going to post that on our website above your video.
Thank you.
For our viewers interested in inquiring more about their deeper healing. And yeah, here's where we say see you later, Andres.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Kate.
Yeah.
God bless you. Blessings.
Yeah.
Blessings to our viewers.
I pray for your well-being and everyone in your family's well-being. And
thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Likewise.
You.
Likewise.
Well-being. Thank you. See you later. Bye.
Bye.